Hello, LOL listeners, aspiring authors, friends, and fellow writers. Today we have Gurpreet from Delhi. She's an interesting combination of a poet and published author, and also a freelance IT professional. Um, Thank you for coming on board, Gurpreet. Over to Danya for a proper intro.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Jayanti. Gurpreet Dhariwal is the author of My Soul Dance, Poems of a Born Spectator. Her first poetry book got her appreciation and accolades by people all over the world. She has done her double masters in information technology and computer applications. She found her bliss in writing when she was 18 years old. She firmly believes in karma philosophy and humanity. Her poetry reflects the poignant situations that are neglected at large. So, Ms. Gurpreet, we're very happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
And, let's begin with the fundamental question that's been often asked in our series. Since it's for aspiring authors, it's the most crucial question every aspiring author has in mind. Traditional or, self-publishing? Which one do you prefer? How was your book published?
Hello.
Yeah, now we can hear you. I think your mic has some.
Okay.
Now is it fine? Yeah, so I started my journey in like November 2019, and I met some people on Instagram because I opened my new account. The other account was creating problems, and there are so many people came into contact with me, and they told me, why don't you publish your work? Because they didn't know that I was already a published person. But it was more like, participating in the anthologies and writing as a guest poetess in somebody else's book. But in 2019, something changed into me, and I was like, I have been writing a lot of poetry since I was 16 years old. Why shouldn't I come up with my own book? And that's how I started looking for the publishers. And when I approached the big publishers, I got to know that they had very small interest in publishing the poetry, that too from a woman, because as per them, only men write poetry, that too in Hindi. And I was writing in English and all this kind of, crazy stuff, because I have been through a lot in my life that gave rise to, my voice into words and all. So when I approached one of the self-publishing companies named Bureaus, they were the first people who actually approached me, and they told me that they would like to take this forward with them. And while going through their packages and everything else, I did not find it, so much costly, because I come from the mentality, if you're starting your dream project, you should, put something out of your pocket into it. It should not be like expecting out of others that they should invest into you. The part of the traditional publishing that really irritates me, that they take a lot of time, maybe like 3 months to 6 months to get back to you, and most probably with a rejection, because nobody knows you in the market. Who are you are new for them. And also, I'm an impatient person even at the age of 34, and I wanted people to read my words even for free. They should reach out to me, and they should relate to what all I have got to say, rather than waiting for somebody else to reject my work, because I was a topper in Delhi University. So the person who has been a topper in her own life knows the possibilities of rejection in all of the spheres of life. Rejection doesn't hurt, but delaying the projects, like now Corona hit the market last year, and now the people are still suffering and they lost their jobs. We never know what's going to happen in the next moment. So it's like, just it was an instinct into me that I want to be published and I am ready to pay for it. So I went for the self-publishing process.
Okay. Interesting.
Good. That's an interesting take on self-publishing. We would like to know how the process of editing and designing for your book went on before you published your book. Did you do the designing yourself, or the publishers helped you in the process?
See, I wanted to start my designing on my own because I was an artist when I was 4 years old. And then life happened. Even when I was just 5 years or 4 years old, that I stopped, sketching and painting at all. And last year, I picked up my paintbrushes almost like 30 years, after like 30 years. And when these people, mainly Americans and Australians, they started buying my paintings, that instilled a faith in me that I can design my book cover as well. So I shared one of the sketching of the women with the designer, but he told me that that does not suit with the book cover and all. And he came up with an idea of his own. But the idea that he gave to me, that resonated with my soul. And I was like, yeah, this is what I exactly want, because people should look at the book cover and they should know that this has been written by a woman, not like a male or the co-authors and everything else. So that is how that started. And I did not have any problem in getting the designs approved, because the moment I saw the first design, I approved it. And the whole part of editing and all, well, it took a toll on me, to be very honest, because publishers, they approach you with high hopes that we are going to give you the best MA in English professional, and they are going to edit your poems. So the first person who edited my poems, he actually edited not how the poetry is done. So I told him that there is no need to get the editing done out from the outside. So I have edited my own book for more than like 15 to 20 times. Although they were just like 10,000 words, but I realized the importance of editing while editing my own as a writer. And when I became an editor, I used to sit almost like from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. every day to just edit my book. And in 2 weeks, I edited the whole book on my own.
Oh, very good. So how many pages were the, in the book, and how many poems? And did you choose from a
There were
lot of
almost
poems
like 130
for the
pages.
collection, or did anyone else help you in choosing?
No, to be very honest, I just picked up those poems randomly, and I laugh at my poems at times. I tell you a reason why. Because I was 16 or 18 years old when I was writing them. Now I'm 34, and when I see my writing from that stage to this stage, I'm like, what all kind of crap I was writing into the world. But I just wanted to publish it, not as a ego thing or something like that. I wanted to publish because that was a part of me that has shaped me for becoming who I am today. And when I published those parts, I realized that even the people who are like 60 or 76 in their age, they read it of my age. So that kind of a thing comforted me a lot. And I have written more than almost like 300 poems till now. And I selected just 130 out of them.
Okay, okay.
So it
So,
was a difficult
so
call to not to
all
publish.
of them, all of them are from those written in your teams, or also included your recent poems. Have you?
The Hindi poems.
Nana, your
No, no, she's asking if you have been writing poems since you were a teenager till now, and you took a few out of it, or just during that time and you have picked it back up again now.
Yeah, I picked up all the poems when I was a teenager from that lot. But my second poetry book that I'm currently working on, and I have found a good publisher for that, also going to be just me. The 34 from that 16 years of age, from times being my
Okay, got it. How have you been promoting your book? Because the publishing process doesn't just end with you getting the book in its form, right? Just the physical form of the book is not just the end of the journey. So how have you been trying to promote the book? Have you been using social media? If you have been using social media, have you been doing this timed posts where to attract more people? What else have you been doing?
See, when I started my new Instagram account, by the grace of God, I got like 1,000 followers in just 2 months. I was not even joining the new account for catching the followers. That is not my strategy. My strategy has always been like, resonating my words with the people who have been through the same journey in their life, who are being authentic to themselves first than anybody else, and who can come to my page and tell me that this is something I read there and this is something I learned there. And there's a website called Medium. Last
Yeah.
year, I was introduced to it by one of my friends, and when I started writing on it, I made so many, fellow writer friends, and I started following them on Instagram. I met people, those from Medium whom I don't know as in person, not even as a writer, but they wrote to me on LinkedIn and Instagram that my words saved them, from committing suicide.
Oh,
And they postponed their suicide because they started reading my words. And I, uh, I had tears in my eyes,
of course,
when I
understand.
read their story, because I don't think of myself a very, high important or very special personality. I was like, there is somebody in this world who is going through a lot worse than me. So why not write actively and let's see where it takes me. So I promote my own work on Instagram, LinkedIn, and I don't segregate my work like this should not go to LinkedIn or this should go to Instagram. It will be everywhere when I'm promoting it, the same post, because we never know what kind of person is coming over there and just clicking with them those kind of words, and they are getting back to me with their encouragement and wisdom. Also have got a lot of freelancing projects this way from Canada as well.
Canada, especially from Canada. Freelance, what kind of freelance works are you getting from Canada? Is it editing to do with literature?
There's this guy who approached me like in October last year. He was doing one of the events. The event name was Cry. Like, all the
Oh,
creative voices coming over there and sharing their interest, because he wanted to showcase the culture of different countries. So he asked me to, prepare a presentation because so many people were joining over there. We had a Zoom session and I really enjoyed it. He was the first person who approached me on Instagram from Medium, and he told me that I want you to take part into it because you are writing all these kind of things. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of it because people ask for money after that these kind of events, and I don't have money. I'm a freelancer. And he was like, no, I will pay you. So that really clicked with me, and I was like, he's the first guy who's approaching me, and he will pay me for what kind of things? So I came across so many people over
such
there, and I
wonders
realized that
happen rarely.
yeah. And he was so authentic in his approach because I told him that I don't believe your words, because in India, so many people came here and they got my work done and they did not pay me. So sign a contract with me so that I can trust you. And since then, we clicked in such a manner. Last month, I did my story on my, childhood story as a domestic violence abuser person and the victim as well. So he paid me for that story as well, because on his publication they are planning to get these ideas from different people, and then they are going to make an ebook or the physical book, and they're going to release in 25 countries.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
that has been a really a good journey working with him till now, and I write for his publication on Medium itself.
Okay,
That's
fantastic.
great. I think you are one of the first writers who has found the right people on Medium, because till now we have had so many people, so many other authors who have used Medium, but I have never heard of anyone talking about finding people and growing that connection through Medium. Because
Yeah.
even I've been writing on Medium, but I've never found such people. I've
And
gotten comments for my work. I have commented on others' work, but it has never grown beyond that. It is very beautiful that your Medium connections turned into
yeah,
actual, real connections.
true.
That's very beautiful to hear, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and like we both, me and Ms. Jayanti, we both are prose writers. We both are fiction writers. So when you write a poem, right, all of us know there is going to be a lot of allegory. There is going to be a lot of comparison. There's going to be a lot of, how to say, there is going to be fiction in the poetry also. So where do you draw the line? There has to be a non-fictional emotion in you to use through the medium of fiction and relay something as a poem, right? So where does your fiction and non-fiction end? What is the line?
See, till last year when I started writing all this kind of, ABCD and haikus and tanka poems over there, I was writing very original stuff because I was going through a lot myself. But this year, when I have been, on the half journey of healing, or maybe 75% I have been healed as a person, I started realizing now I'm not able to write, up to that extent on all this kind of dark side of me. And that's from where I started putting the fiction into it, because the people who are reading me, they should not get a message that all I am writing about is just the dark side of me. That would always be a part of me, and I am very proud of it. But 25% should be something like, giving hope to, like I met a lady from Canada. She's a professor, and she told me that she has been divorced for years and she's still looking for a soulmate at the age of 55. So just to give her a hope, I wrote a poem that we can imagine, anything in our lives at any stage, irrespective of our gender or where we live. So I started writing fiction thinking about how she would feel when she'll read my words or somebody else's word in that perspective. That should give her a hope that they are good people as well, and you should not lose hope. At the end of the day, there could be anyone. Because I'm saying this as a fiction, because I truly don't believe in all these kind of things anymore. But giving hope somebody while writing all these kind of things gives you hope that you could be an incredible support to somebody else as well.
Yeah.
So that's how I put my fiction and my true stories into poetry as well.
You said your book came as a self-published, print. So I want to know how it felt holding the first copy of the book. The second part of the question will be, why didn't you even try a traditional? Did you taste the series of rejections we all so used to? Have you tasted it, or straight away went to self-publishing?
Okay. I'll answer the first question. I felt very good while holding my book. I did not consider it a book. I consider it my first baby, and it was a lot of my hard work in it because I have hold so many books in which I participated as an author, but holding my own book, it was a real experience because I was like, even though even a single person is going to read this book and going to relate to it, that is more than enough. My job is done. I'm moving to the second book. I don't come from that background that I need to be a Chetan Bhagat on, a Stephen King to write my books. Sorry, I won't do that because there are so many people who are still seeking peace in the kind of poetry or the words that I write. Second, I did not go via the traditional route because there is something that I am not very comfortable with the traditional publishing. That is the waiting part. They want to reject me. That is completely fine. Don't reject me just once. Reject me 1,000 times. But give me the deadline in which you are going to reject me. Don't let me wait for almost like 180 days. And when I know the answer, you are not going to select me, or maybe you will. And then maybe you are not going to do a lot of things for me that the self-publishing people are ready to do because they are charging me money. So these kind of things made me think that I will always go for the self-publishing even if I'm coming up with a novel, because I lack patience. I want people to be truthful to me even though they are going to reject me, and that is not happening anytime soon. Like in the interviews they tell you we will get back to you and they never get back to you. So yeah, I have these kind of issues with the traditional part. And maybe I don't want my books to go into the market when I turn 44. I'm just 34. Maybe by the 44, I'll already have 10 books in the market. Why they self-publishing?
All the best, all the best. Yes, you will have.
I think the decision of self-publishing and traditional publishing for her, it's been like a self-analysis journey. It's more of her analysis of herself than the industry at large.
Yes.
So yeah, that's fine. we would like to know, like, because you've been talking about a lot of trauma and, the dark side of life and all that. Usually poets or any writer, we all write about our own emotions, but we mask it with other things, right? So what we usually are we are the experiencer, but we write something, like we make sure it doesn't seem like we are experiencing it or something. But you have very beautifully called yourself a born spectator, which means you have not just the experiencer, you're also the spectator, you're also the audience of not just your emotion, but but another person, any other human being's emotions, right? How did you come up with this thought of not just writing about your emotions, but of others also?
See, it took me a lot of time in, coming up with terms that I need to write what's inside my heart and mind. And I am not an arrogant person in that perspective, but people, when you tell them that this is what you're gonna write, they try to judge you that you're not caring about your readers. So when I was growing up, I realized that I am writing for myself. That is why I'm not publishing my work. I'm just a teenager, and who wants to read my work? So that self-confidence took a lot of time to get completely instilled to me that this is for me first. And if somebody else is able to relate with it, that's good. And if they are relating to it and they're sharing their stories with me, why not to talk about their stories in the form of poetry or the articles without telling the other person that this is the person I'm talking about? Only they can read about themselves in my poetry, and they come to me in inbox and in private messages that I felt good after reading that.
Mm,
That is the actually I wanted to make you feel being
mm,
a stranger, because it's a myth that only the known ones can make you feel comfortable. Anybody can make you feel comfortable till the time they are, understanding what you have been through, or they are trying to be an empathetic person. So I am definitely
Exactly.
an empathetic person, and I have seen a lot of people go through a lot. I have seen my male friends, uh, denying the truth on the face of others, but to tell me the truth that they were thinking of committing suicide and all, and that is how they overcome their problems. So why not to talk about all these kind of things in the poetry and the articles? Why there is a need to exaggerate that I'm a survivor and I'm this? They are a survivor, but first just know what actually they survived. And it's not always if you're a survivor, you're a very strong person. Maybe your trauma or your experiences have made you so fragile from within. So let's do something that change that perspective into something else. Why the survivors need to be worshipped by others, that this person struggled so hard and became like this? You don't know their journey till now. What if they are feeling the same way at the age of 42 or 62 as well?
Yeah. No, survivors anyways are not really survivors, because there is still a part of them which is still fragile, which still goes back to that place where they, which they overcame. Uh,
Yeah.
I think that is the the rut of mental illness, because all of us will always go back to it, especially when there is something wrong happening in our lives. Our mind is not going to navigate to the problem, but it is going to go back to the place where it
it's
was
ready
before. It's
to
going to go
jump
to the,
into that.
yeah,
It's very so used to it. It goes to that
that
mode.
that
Yes.
dark depressing phase, that it's like a good comfortable zone, it's very easy
It's
to
a
navigate back there.
known
It's
terrain.
cozy, it's a
It's a
cozy place.
known terrain. So it goes there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming to poetry as a form, which form of poetry is your favorite? And in your poetry, do you even, I mean, today you feel something, or say this week you feel something, do you straight away write about it, or do you mull over it? And how do you come up with a hopeful ending in your thing or something? And hope, you want to give hope, but you're going to write about something dark. How do you handle that?
Did
I
you
missed
get
the
the
last
question? Do
part.
you wanted to repeat the question?
Yeah, because her
Auntie,
voice
can you
was
repeat the
cracking when
question?
she,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was.
The first thing is, which form of poetry is your favorite? That is first part of the question. Second part I wanted to ask was, you said you're writing about some dark emotions and things, yet you want to convey a positive, hope in your poetry. So how do you handle this? You're going to tell something dark, at the same time you have to give hope to them. Do you end off with the hope, or how do you handle this? And do you write straight away when you feel something, emotion this week, you straight away write, or do you mull over it and, try to, in your recent poems, not about the teenage one?
Okay. I have learned a new variety of poems on Medium, because when they started tagging me in writing prompts and all, I didn't know what haiku was or what tanka poem was, what sonnet was. But my favorite micro poetry, because just in few words I'm saying a lot, and those few words I they just strike to me. I don't plan them. Even if I'm standing outside the mall, I saw something and I just want to write on it. I just write it in my mobile or the kind of notepads I carry with me, and that is how I actually come up with most of my poetries. Because in my Soul Rants, I have written two poems on November 2008 Taj Palace attack. I don't know, when I read the news and I was just 22, something changed into me. I was standing in the bus and I was writing the poetry on the people who died there and those who remained alive after them. So these kind of things actually could not wait, because there are times when I was waiting for the feelings to process into me. And the moment I came from the bathroom after taking bath, all words were gone. All words were washed away. So I was like, oh my goodness, I need to, find a gadget where I can record what's going inside my mind. And I knew that I was writing about my dark side and other people, or how the world has been shaped into. But it was my people who came back to me after reading my work, and they told me that your stories, your poems, they always start something bad, but they end on a very positive note. How do you do that? So I said, I don't do anything actually to fake it or to make it, but it's more like, this is me. That is how something happened in my own life, but it ended on a good note. Or maybe it did not end on a good note, but I took out something positive out of it because it happened for a reason. We all go through hardships and everything because God wants me to learn something out of them, and just to crib about them. Obviously we can crib about them, we can cry over them, we can say it made me depressed or I could not break the cycle of depression and anxiety. But that is fine. Who wants to be normal in this abnormal world? It is fine whatever you are going through. So just accept yourself. And the last year I again picked up my journal and I started writing my thoughts in it. It has healed me up to that extent that I can say, even though you're not sharing your words with anyone else, just pour out everything that is going inside you, and those words are going to heal you. They're going to be your real healer, because this is the conversation between you and God.
Fantastic. Do you revisit to shape it, cut it, edit it after after you've written a poem? Do you go and revisit your poem to edit it, improve it? Do you do that, or you leave it as it is?
Yeah, I do that because I'm writing on a platform. If I won't people after me, mainly my author friends,
Criticize it.
because they read my book very attentively. And I present myself, who was just in a gist of, putting the words out there without knowing what exactly I with my work. I respect my work a lot. So I read a lot of mistakes. I'm blessed with such kind of readers on Medium as well. They highlight the particular word uh, which I have written wrong.
Hmm.
So they don't say a word, they just highlight that. And I go back to my work and I realize, oh, the spelling's wrong, or I could not mean what I was saying. So that is how my learning journey has been.
That's
But for the
fantastic.
book to be published, I sit with my open eyes and open mind, and I just do it like it needs to be done like a student is preparing for the board examination.
Yeah. So there must have been, there is always a difference between writing on electronic platforms and making those poems into a book, right? Because you on e-platforms, you're gonna get feedback like in seconds. You're gonna reach out to the audience and you're gonna get feedback. You're gonna have direct feedback and all that. How did it feel when did you change the poems uh, from the way they were when you were posting it on Medium to your book? Has there been any difference in those two when you were publishing it in a book and in a medium and in the medium?
The first book that I published, I did not share anything from that book on Medium because I knew that those unpublished poems need to be published in the market as my entry as a poet or the author. But the second book, it has a lot of work from the Medium itself. And like the way you're asking me, I think I'm going to edit some of the work. It completely depends on the person that I'm going to work with as an editor now, because her suggestions has already come to me, but she's so impressed with some of the poems that she believes that nothing needs to be changed. But I know that is not how the book is published. It's not only about the US market, because I know a lot of people will buy my book from there, but still I'm residing in India and I need to communicate with the people who are here. So how they are going to accept some of my poems? Like I give you an example from my last book. I write erotica as well. So I'm not publishing it in poetry books as of now, but I have a plan that I will do it on Kindle for sure. I added one of the erotica poems in the previous book, and I don't know what was wrong with the editor who was reading it, and that person told me that I did not get this poem, so you need to change the wordings. So I just removed that poem from there. And I was like, that that is completely all right, because a woman is writing erotica and you're not so comfortable in it. So I realized, okay, my erotic poetry is not going to work in India, and I'm not going to target that market here. Because whatever I put on Instagram, the kind of things I read my inbox, I understand that mentality. So these are kind of the learnings that I'm carrying with myself, but maybe or maybe not. The reason being, I don't want.
Yeah. You can just continue
Okay.
the answer.
So I was saying that I may or may not edit my poems. The reason being, I don't want to portray myself as a person who I'm not. I'm very realistic in my thoughts, and maybe if people are scared to face themselves after reading my work, that is their wish, because I'm not putting a gun on your head, okay, or requesting you're dying without you reading me. And that is how it is always gonna be, because only the right kind of people should connect with me, not the quantity I'm bothered about, but the quality people should come and talk to me and tell me what exactly they read in it.
Did you, formally launch your book in Delhi or somewhere? Your first book? Did you launch your book in Delhi or any other city? Your first book?
Was there a formal launching meet? Is what she's asking.
For my first book?
Yes.
No, it was not like that, because we all were in lockdown.
Okay.
And maybe that is the reason it got good response. Like on the first day, I got like 10 reviews. I was not expecting that people are waiting for my book, because I joined Medium like in Jan, and my book was introduced in May. So they all read my work, and till now, maybe I have guessed like almost like 50 reviews on Goodreads. But that is fine for me, because my book talked to them. And I read a lot as a writer. My first thing is I read a lot. I read a lot of work of others, not because I want them to read me. I want to know what kind of personalities I'm interacting with, what kind of people I'm reading on even on Medium, what's in their mind, who they are. And most of them are published authors. So they read my work in return, and the kind of respect that I got from there, I am not sure this kind of respect I ever got even from the people who know me like since ages, because they just see you moreover as the tag of the relationship that you are holding with them, maybe a best friend, mother, sister, but they don't look at you beyond that. So your words define you, and they related to my work like they were talking to me as in person. So that really worked well with me.
Very good. Fantastic.
Have you been promoting your book offline also? Like, have you been giving it to bookstores or colleges or book libraries? Have you done any of that, or are you planning to do any of that for your second book and for the first book also?
See, for the first book, when it came into the market, I went to CP, and there are book vendors who sit on the street and all. So I asked them if they would like to just keep the 2 or 3 copies. But after interacting with them, I realized my status in the market. They told me that they won't keep it there, and I need to give them a lot of money to get my book placed there. And this was told to me by the street vendors. I don't know from where they get so much arrogance and all. So I realized I don't want to, go this way. Why am I approaching them? I should rather give it to somebody who has keen interest in reading.
Who will
That too,
value it?
yeah, because it's not about like getting famous or yeah, my copies are getting sold over there. Just fuck that bullshit. I don't want all that kind of thing. So I did not follow that path again. But this year I got approached by one of the sister concerns of Crossroads, the right place. They asked me to publish my second poetry book because they really liked it, but they again come from that self-publishing background, and I told them I don't have that much money. And during lockdown and this pandemic phase, I realized bookstores are not going to help a writer like me, because who is going to the mall when everything else goes into the lockdown every 2 or 3 months? So let's do something like ebook. And the people who are very close to me, because they're very old age people on Medium, who told me that they come from that generation that they don't buy ebooks, and they are ready to pay me if I ship my book to them. I did not charge them anything. I shipped my book to them, and they read it and they reviewed it. So these kind of people that I am looking for, and the college students, all that is in my target for my graduation college and my MBA. But I think that will come into the picture more after, like, Corona goes away, because still the times are still the same. Third wave is about to
Yeah.
come, or maybe it has gone. Who knows?
Are
But
you
that
going
is
to
in, I
stick?
want to approach students.
Are you going to stick to poetry,
Poetry.
or are you going to try your hand at prose?
Are you asking me about the prose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to
I
write?
have written, yeah, I have written almost like 3,000 proses till now, but I have not shared them anywhere. There was a phase in my life from 2017 till 2019 when I was not on social media, and I thought that writing was not coming to me, or I forgot how to write. So that's how the proses started, happening with me, and I wrote one after another on different apps. Then I saved them last year, and I counted them. They were more than 3,000. I will release the series of proses someday. That is in my plan.
You mean they are
And
essays or short
yeah.
stories?
Short stories.
No, they are not short stories. They are just proses, like 4-line poetries or the one-liners, or something like in paragraphs where something happened with me, or I wrote them, in my journal and all. And about the book, I have started writing a novel last year. I have completed 23 chapters in it, but then it is just lying at the 23rd chapter. It is not moving else.
Happens.
Because
This is
now I have a different
this is
story.
very common.
It
This is very
happens.
I
common.
I open it and it looks at me. I look at it and I close it and it goes back to sleep. That is how the journey is going on.
Happens.
Now, there is this trend on social media and live where people are reading poetry, their own poetry, right? Have you been doing that for promotion? Have you
Open
been
mic.
reading your poems? Yeah, open mic. Have you been doing that?
I was invited to such events, but I never participated because I was in a, different world that, oh, nobody will read me. Who am I? So that kind of mentality took a lot of out of me because I have seen people going to these events and getting themselves recorded. But this year I've started, recording my poems. I'm reciting them on my own and uploading them on YouTube, and I'm getting good response on YouTube as well. So it took me a lot of time to come upfrontly on video because I'm not that kind of person who would do all these kind of live sessions, because so many people after reading my bold writing, they think that I'm a bold person like in real life. But I'm not at all like that. I hide myself, behind the curtain, and I don't want to come just right in front of people, because after my lot of bad experiences, I realized that you can't judge people on their face value. They will always be pretending something that they are not. So why should I enter into that kind of zone? But I'm trying to reciting my poems on YouTube, and let's see how far it goes, because again, like the way my novel is sitting at chapter 23rd, there comes a time when I don't want to come online at all. So I deal a lot with the depression and anxious mind, so that takes a toll on me.
You're preaching to the choir. Actually, you're preaching openly to a choir of both of us, because all of us, especially Indian women, that is where we can go. That is the only place. I don't want to call it just Indian women, just all human beings in general right now.
Yeah.
Because of the pandemic, it's more now. It's just
Yeah.
more. It's just escalated a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we will ask you one last question and we can go to the next segment of the podcast, which is World of W's. The last question that I would like to ask you is, when I saw your book on Amazon and I had read reviews and all, it was said that there are different themes of poems, right? There is poems on grief. There is poem on, like you said, on the Taj terrorist attack and all that. So was it difficult, or do you think like this combination of many emotions into one book is all right, or do you want to stick to one particular emotion through the entire book? Which do you think will work better for a poetry book?
See, I always take a lot of combination into poetry, because there are people, especially, very young girls, like who are just like 16 or 18 years old. They read my work and they were like, this book is all about heartbreaks. So that book is not only about heartbreaks. There is a poem on Nirbhaya case as well. It all depends on like with what kind of mind state you are in and what you are picking out of that book, and not just in my book, be it any kind of book.
Any
Even
book,
if you are
yeah.
reading, yeah, and you are expecting a lot of romance out of Mr. King, that is not going to happen. You need to actually remember God while living, while reading his books, because there are a lot of horror moments. I have never tried reading his books except that memoir on writing, because I wanted to encourage myself as a writer. This second book is again has a lot of combination of lockdown fights, how the people are fighting, especially those couples who said that we don't get time for each other, and now they have all the time in the world and they are on the one killing each other. So
They are going to
that,
divorce many people.
yeah. So now 80% or I believe 90% won't say after coming out of pandemic that we don't get time with each other. They will always like just fuck up. I don't want to talk to you, and I'm going to meet my friends and regenerate myself and all that kind of thing. So I
This
don't know
this
how
was
people.
something. This was something that me and my brother were discussing. We were just having a normal chat, and I was telling him, the couples that we thought are going to break up, they're having children in the pandemic, and the couples that we thought are the best couples are
Are going
getting
to
a divorce. That's what the pandemic. I think it's brought out the real human being, that their realities are coming out. I
Also,
think that's what.
biggest reality is nobody wants to sit at home. My pandemic started in 2017. When I left my job from US and I came back to India, I did not get a full-time job again, but I realized that I liked being at home. And there were so many people of my age who told me that you're so young, why do you want to be at home and all? It's not about being at home or outside. It is about facing your demons and accepting yourself for who you are. If I cannot be comfortable with myself, it doesn't matter to me whether I have a dog, child, or husband or child for that matter. I need to be comfortable with myself. And my comfort zone won't always be like I'm liking myself. Self-love is everywhere showering over me. It's not going to happen that way. I'm accepting myself that I have flaws. I have these kind of problems with me. It has nothing to do with the other person. So all these people who are facing all these kind of problems, they are expecting a lot out of each other, but they are analyzing here.
And yeah,
That is from where the
I would like to ask you one more question also. Sorry, you had told us that your books were and your paintings are receiving more response from abroad, like from America and Canada. Have you been promoting specifically for that, or it's just general and it coincidentally happened that those people are liking your work more?
See, I made my first sketch after 30 years on 18 Jan 2019. And I did not know how good I'm going to be at it. When I started introducing these sketches along with the poems on Medium, on my first sketch, there were like 4 women who approached me in private messages that I want to buy your painting. And I was like, are they crazy people? Because this is something that I'm doing just as a hobby and they want to buy it. And I don't know how much shall I charge them because they are living abroad and all these kind of things. But then I read a lot of articles on Medium. I spend almost like 2 hours every day there reading other people, what they are writing about. And there people wrote that if you're a painter or some kind of hobby you have, why do you want to add pictures from, Pixels and Pixabay? Why don't you use your own products and the kind of things that you're doing? So I started adding my paintings over there. And that's from where this journey started. Some of the people purchased, 5 paintings, 10 paintings. I was not expecting it. It's like a miracle. People told me that you should actually open a website where you'll sell. I can't do that. I have opened my website for a different reason, not for selling of my paintings. If that happens, that is fine. But yeah, by them, I learned that there are so many organizations in US that actually demand you to make the kind of paintings that I'm making, and they buy in bulk and they pay you well. I have not clicked my luck with anyone, but I'm trying to search for the NGOs here in India where they are raising the orphans. If I can do anything for them in the form of paintings, then why not? And that is going to be my social work because I want to do that. That is in my agenda.
Are they abstract or
Right.
what
I think
painting is that?
Painting. I was for Spanish girl, and the kind of abstract painting she was doing on Instagram. I usually paint women to be changed, not just in terms of equality. People don't give birth women the way they deserve in this world. Not just because I'm a woman, even if I was a man, I believe that I would have been speaking on the same terms because this. So my poetry or my artwork is all about, making a difference in the
Empowering.
world. Yeah, that's how the things should be. And the way they are, I'm not very happy with them.
Got it. Yeah. So I think it's time for us to move on to the next segment, which is Word of W's. Word of W's is nothing but the W questions like what, when, where, and all that. Okay. And you can just be quick. It's almost like a rapid fire, but with just those W questions. Okay. So yeah. Who are your target audience?
everyone who has been through depression and anxiety. I don't want the normal people reading my crappy poems because they won't be able to relate with them.
I mean, I don't know, normal people today exist. It's so subjective. Anyways, why only poetry?
It is just a start. The second poetry, maybe 10 books more poetry, but I am definitely working on novel. And now I'm confused about two things: the novel that I'm already writing and the kind of series that I've done in June. People want me to write on my own life story reading first, but I'll definitely jump into novels because I have done a lot of interviews with medium people as well. I am thinking of releasing those books as well.
Great, great. When is your next book due?
I believe it will be out in the first week of August.
How was the response, overall response for your first book?
Well, like I told you, I come from a background that even if one person was reading that and relating to it, but I got more than 50 people. I'm happy. I'm peaceful with the kind of work that I'm doing, because I will never ever be buying the reviews, or I will be chasing a lot of people reading my work. If you want to do it, just do it. Just pick that book and read it. But it won't be like that I should chase people to come and read me. I believe that if I'll keep on consistently writing on all the platforms that where I'm writing, it will definitely get me to the places where I'm intend to go.
How long did it take for you to conceptualize the idea of this book and actually publish it? How long was the process?
I believe this will second book won't take that much time, but the first book took almost like 6 months, because there were so many problems that I faced as a first time author in the market. I did not know so many things, like how the paperback was an experience course, how you select the pages, how much time they take in publishing part. Also, there was a lockdown, so I did not fight with my publisher, and there are so many times when they need to develop patience, because it's okay, they're also humans and they're dealing with so many authors on the daily basis. So all these kind of things, people say that I learned a lot from this and that. They were teaching me a lot of things, mainly patience, because I'm somebody who's impatient. But yeah, I admire all the help that I got from them. Even after paying the money, I never felt like that I paid them, because the way they treated me as someone who was always the owner of our decisions, like this needs to be done or this was not done. So I really had a very great experience in publishing my first book. Apart from that editing part, because there was one of the, when you are coming with the book idea and people see that you have a good social media presence. So somebody approached me on LinkedIn that she would like to review my book for free. And I was so naive in the market that I did not know there are no free lunches in this world. So I gave her my work to review it for free. And after reviewing it for free, I can't tell you the kind of post she has written on me all over the social media, that I cheated on her, this and that. While on my email it is written, if you still wish to be paid, just let me know, share your bank account details, and I'll pay you the money. But that never happened. So that was a great learning for me, that if people say that we'll do it for free, just be alarmed. Okay, they're not gonna do
Double
it.
check it.
Okay.
Double check
Yeah.
it. Double.
That's
Yeah,
So God
and
really affected me a lot.
so.
where can our audience find your work? Like, where is it available? Where are your books available? And your
On
about your
Amazon, it is
medium.
available. On Kindle, it's on Flipkart as well.
Can we
Yes.
know for the aspiring authors, which is the self-publishing platform that you use for your book?
Okay.
The name of your publishing platform. Would you like to? If you're not comfortable, that's fine.
No, the Bureau's company. You want me to talk about the publisher?
Yes, please.
Yeah, just the
I mean,
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, just
Yeah,
the
it's a
name.
Bureau.
Blue
Bureaus.
Rose. Okay.
Blue Rose.
Blue
Yeah.
Rose. Okay.
okay.
And I when I approached them, I did not know that I'll be so happy after getting my work done from them. And few days ago, I was watching something else on YouTube when the advertisement of Bureaus came. And then I heard the story of this guy who started this company, how he actually started because he himself an author, and there was nobody in the market who wanted to publish his work. And he was like, why don't I self-publish myself? And I was amazed to see just one thing, that in like 1 year to 3 years, how he started this company in just like 2011 and reached 7 crore turnover. It's a big thing for individual who is coming from the, corporate background, who doesn't have any idea of how to run a business. But he clicked it because, to be very honest, it's not just because of the fact that they published me. They really have a very nice team. If you are facing some kind of problem with their marketing manager, they will give you another one. The way they treat their customers is something that even the traditional publishing people need to learn, because respect is not there. I really feel it that respect should be there on every platform, either they are paying you or not. And when people say that we are traditionally getting published, what does it mean? That they want you to reach that pre-order capacity. They want 300 pre-order copies, then they will publish you. And 300 copies are being purchased by whom? Your close ones, the people you know, or maybe the people you don't like, you're approaching them to buy them. Because one of my friends, she got published by traditional way, but the people who purchased her book, they did not read it. So what's the point of purchasing that book?
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I think that's a wrap for this session. Is there
Yes.
any parting words you want to give our audience, and can you share with us how this experience of a podcast was for you?
To be very honest, I have never spoken this much in any interview, not even in the MNCs till now. but whatever you have asked me made sense to me, because it made me speak on the things that people usually hide, and I don't want to do that part. Even with the new authors, any person who is writing even a single word or just 10 lines in their journal every day, for me, they're already a writer. You are not an author right now because you're not published. Nobody knows about you, but you are a writer. So never ever lose that kind of hope by asking your other author friends whether people will accept me or not. Just do it and see by yourself how that journey takes you.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Auntie, I think you can stop.